Hello, my loves. Hope you had a beautiful new moon yesterday and the energy's still going, obviously, into today. I posted a video for my members on Patreon and YouTube yesterday, and it was connected to bold steps forward for the masculine and feminine. And the energy that came through was a reorganization for the masculine's internal energy and a reharmonization with the masculine for the feminine. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll put the links in the pinned comment. Today, I just want to open up and again check in with these new energies that seem to be streaming through. And at least for me, in a new way, I feel like it's deeply connected to the new potentials and the new phases that are opening for the twins and divine counterparts in this next phase of our evolution process. And with this, it's connected to those energies of really coming out of the patterns that we were once initiated through. And let's see, this card fell out. Oh, two fell out. Wow. Okay. So we have the covenant sacred contract as I'm speaking about these connections expanding to the next phase of their purpose, and the drifter experiencing life as it comes. Immediately, what comes to me is the divine orchestration of these connections, the divine orchestration of the unions, of the reunions, of the separations, and how at the higher levels it is all ultimately orchestrated by Source. And of course, our higher self and our energies seeing the best path forward of how our human selves can work with these energies, right? Because essentially our soul knows, our soul remembers. The human deep down remembers, but has been buried under so much collective programming that it takes a process to remember who we truly are and to really uncover and dig out from what wasn't the truth. You know what I mean? And then you take those energies, you take who you are at a soul level, and then you take your human experience that does also make you exactly who you are, especially in this incarnation. And this process really pushes you to go deeper into who you are, not just on those surface levels, but who are you at that core energy? And so the drifter is actually speaking to me like how no matter how much we push forward, no matter how much we think our will is in control of our path, ultimately at the end of the day, source, our higher self, is soul is what is in control. And I'm sure many of you can attest to this. I know that I can. There was a time where I definitely was way more in the my will and action oriented in controlling my circumstances and my life. And that was part of how a long time ago I was learning how to feel safe and stable. But ultimately, at the end of the day, as many of you have experienced, when you go through that dark night of the soul and all of that ego starts to crumble deeper and deeper, you realize that ultimately our little human selves were not the ones in control. But at the same time, our human self is a very, very, very important and potent part of this whole process of the ascension. Without our physical human body, our higher self wouldn't have a place to land, to experience, to evolve, and to ascend. So I want to go a bit deeper into what is opening up because it feels like again, when this card comes out over the last few months, it's really speaking to me, okay, what have we not seen about these contracts? What was still, I don't, hidden. And what I mean by hidden is like it just wasn't time for it to open. The way this energy is coming forward, the way the messages are coming forward, it feels that there are new things that want to come forward. And so I'm going to open up to that now. And I feel guided to start with one card for the masculine, one card for the feminine. I encourage you to look at this for your internal energies as well as your twin flame divine counterpart connection, that other physical being and yourself. Oh, and it's hitting me. It's 7 and 14. So we have that number doubling. The numbers have been feeling significant in always, but in terms of energy. And everything in our universe is made of energy. And at the core quantum level, it is mathematics. So let's see what comes through for the masculine. And then I'm going to pull one for the feminine. Okay. So for the masculine, we have the world card. And what it feels like to me, given this message, is that this is the exact information that the masculine collective is becoming more and more aware of. That soul is ultimately in control, and no matter how much they want to force something to be a certain way, they just are not able to make it happen. And it's not because something is wrong with them. It's just you can't force an untruth to be truth. Truth is just what it is. It's the truth. And so it feels like there is a deeper truth bomb that's opening up within the masculine. And I'm saying it in that way. I was going to say a truth bomb exploding, but this doesn't feel, yes, it feels shocking, but what I'm feeling is that this is not overwhelming. I can feel the stability and the divine masculine's capacity to actually receive this information now. Whatever the masculines have been going through, whatever they've been trying to suppress or override with their will, they're now surrendering to the higher power because they've reached this point where things are just not moving forward in the way that they planned or the way that they thought was going to happen. And that surrender point is allowing them to actually line up with sources and soul's plan for them. And interestingly, over in the feminine position, we have the Queen of Swords, which is ultimately the Queen of Truth. And this is bringing me to an energy that came forward in yesterday's Patreon, but I didn't actually call it out in the moment, but it seems that it wants to come forward now. As it feels like the feminines have been very deeply holding the truth, asking for the truth, contemplating the truth, going direct to source for the truth, and doing her best to embody the truth. And what I'm feeling is that her capacity to maintain and continue to stay in these energies is what is allowing more of the truth to open up within the connection for both counterparts. But it also feels like because the masculine is now opening to receiving the truth in a new way, she no longer has to hold it in silence. And I feel like this is actually opening more truths and more understanding, more understanding for the divine feminine collective. What I feel energetically for both is that both are expanding into another level of their authentic original natural nature. This feels important to acknowledge because, again, like I've said, it doesn't mean that they have not been authentic. It means that they are both expanding and learning more about who they truly are, why they're truly here, what they truly want. And as I'm sure many of you know, that can feel overwhelming at first. But what I'm sensing in this part of the collective is that a lot of processing and acceptance has occurred in more and more truth about these connections and their purpose is being revealed to both twins, both the masculine collective and the feminine collective. Okay. I'm going to pick one more for each of these, but I'm going to pull from the other Light Seers deck. Okay, so for the masculine side, we have the King of Pentacles. And so adding to this world card with the King of Pentacles, this feels to me that the masculine is reevaluating, and again, connected to yesterday's member message, reorganizing his physical material world in order for it to start to be able to receive and match with his soul's and higher source's vision for his life. There is space being made within this. Yeah, some of those messages touched in on how if there was like the 7 areas of life the masculine had worked through 4 and there was 3 more he's still working with. Like the other 4 he has a handle on and there's a few more that he's sorting through and it feels connected to this him creating the space for himself and for the life that his soul contract, his soul purpose planned for him. So it very much feels like this is in a stabilization, contemplation, reorganization, stabilization process. Okay, cool. And for the feminines, this Queen of Swords to Judgment is speaking to me about how the feminines have been in stillness, they've been in silence, holding the frequency of truth. And it does feel, of course, she's going to continue to hold the frequency of truth. But what I feel again, like I said, there's this expansion coming in. There's like a deeper embodiment of another level of the divine feminine's higher self that she now has the capacity to embody. So this is what's coming in for the next phase of the feminines, a strengthening of that embodiment of her essence, of her higher self, and wielding it in new ways. She's been going through the embodiment. Now she's preparing or in the process of coming out of the stillness and silence and reharmonizing who she is now with the masculine counterpart to see in the energies like, okay, where are we now? What's coming in for the next phase of our growth and of our purpose and of our process for ourselves individually, but also as twin flame divine counterparts on this planet. And so this again, this energy also feels stable. This stabilization of that's building upon what the feminines have already stabilized. So preparing to take what you have learned and apply it to new creations, new experiences, new relationships is what is coming through. All right, is there one more that wants to come through to bring this all together? Okay, I'm guided to go to the Healing Waters Oracle. Ooh, we're gonna leave that right there. It fell on the floor and wow, okay. Lots of energy. It's really cool though, because there's a lot of energy, but again, I'm feeling a solid stability within the connections, really strengthening on both ends. The sacred well, replenishment, self-care, giving from a place of plenty. So within this reorganization, reharmonization process, of course, be sure to self-care. We know this. But because things are becoming much more physical, yes, we've been working in the energies. We will continue to work in the energies, but this is the preparation for things to land much more solidly in the physical world. Okay. And again, we have the World card, the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, these very, I know the Queen of Swords is air, but this is a very grounded energy to me. It's very present as a queen in the physical world, embodying the truth. Okay. So again, landing deeper into the truth. Yes, experiencing life as it comes, but what I'm sensing is this capacity to drift with the higher power in self-care and be open to those deeper levels of embodiment are helping everyone to just effortlessly flow with that divine organization and divine timing. So we're going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this. I would love to hear from you if you're guided. I'll see you soon. Much love.